Hello, everyone, and welcome to my home and to this channel. I've been wanting to do this for years and years and years, and now I think is a good time in my life and good time just in general. My mission with this is just to reach out to others and hopefully inspire them to find their way to get centered. We all need to have a healthy, happy home and work, so being centered is the key. If you're not centered, then everything else kind of just falls apart. You don't know who you are, you don't know what your goals are, you're living in chaos, you're living unhappy. And how can we get to that point? So my goal in all this is just to discuss different topics and different ways of breaking it down to hopefully inspire you to get to the point of happiness. That's it. What makes you happy as a person? To each its own, and we all have to figure out what that is. I can't say do this, this, and this because everyone's different. Some things that inspire me and make me very happy are music. I can turn music on in some of your worst days and it really turns it around. It can motivate you. It can give you that oomph you need to get up, to get ready, to go to work and be the best you that you can be. Also, there's a lot of inspirational people. One of the best ways I found is to get on like YouTube or any other social media and Google or search inspirational people, or if you have somebody in mind that's already inspirational, just watch some of their videos, watch some of their moments. I enjoy watching like Oprah's Super Soul Sunday. I think that is kind of my way of collecting my thoughts and getting a smile back on me and saying, okay, that was a really good point, and now I can try to incorporate that in my day-to-day life. Maya Angelou is another huge inspiration. The way she speaks and the way her thoughts were are just phenomenal. If you've never looked her up, definitely look up Maya Angelou. She is a huge inspiration. I mean, if you've never watched her, definitely look her up. Also, sometimes I'll just watch different people. Ellen has been such a positive drive in the world, and apparently we need it. She has done so good for herself because she's happy, she's positive. She starts her shows out with dancing. What other talk show has ever done that? It's very important to find the things that speak to people and that motivate people. With the world today, politics and everything else going on, we can be consumed in such a negative atmosphere when we're on our phone, when we're home watching TV, when we have the radio on. So we have to find things to combat that negativity. You have to retrain your mind just to see and think and hope for the positive. Now, we're not perfect, we're not living in a perfect world, and I'm not saying we are, we need to. But what is on your scale right now? Is 80% of your thoughts and emotions negative? That's not good. Is it 50-50? I still don't think that's good. Everything's supposed to have a balance. In each person's life, there's a different balance. I think the more happiness and positivity we have in our homes and in our work life and in our social groups, the better. So we have to have that little bit of negative. It kind of is a reminder that we have to keep centered and that we will be living in a world where it's not perfect, and that's okay. When you can look around and say, you know, life's going on, but I'm pretty happy, I'm pretty thankful, and I feel I can fight any battle that's thrown at me right now. That kind of shows that you're pretty centered, that you have healed a lot of the pain in your past, and you're ready for more in the future. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of different topics coming up. Being organized and how your home and your office and your surroundings being organized can really affect your emotions and your atmosphere. We're also going to talk about debt. being debt-free and how important that is to keeping your life happy and healthy and centered. It's huge. It's huge. If you are drowning in debt, there is no way in the world that you are going to be happy and healthy and centered. Even if you have the house of your dreams, 5 cars in the driveway, and all the fancy things that you ever thought you could have, if you're drowning in debt, you're still not going to be happy. So we're going to dive deep into that and discuss how debt can affect us. It is a huge leading cause of depression, breakups, divorces. It's all negative, and we're just going to really talk about it. Finding things that inspire you. Like I just mentioned, who are the people that inspire you, and are you focused on them and bringing that stuff around you? Are you listening to music that inspires you and keeping you happy? So finding things that inspire you are important. A work and life balance that is happy and healthy is huge. It's a massive key. It's one of those things that can kind of keep things going smooth and revolving in a healthy balance. If you have a happy home, but then you go to work and you're miserable, how do you think you're going to come home and maintain that happy home? And vice versa. So we're going to discuss that. Having a happy work-life balance is very, very important. Also, knowing your own value. Knowing your value as a person, as a friend, as a partner, as a coworker, as a boss, as a supervisor, as a youth group leader, as a faith-based person. How knowing your value as a person is important to keeping yourself centered and happy and healthy. That is just knowing who you are to the core and how that can affect your day-to-day life. We're also going to discuss vision boards, which I love vision boards. I think they are extremely important. I think if you've never done a vision board, it's a must. You've got to try it. You have to sit down and have positive things outlined. You have to have your goals and your aspirations outlined. If you do not know your goals and you do not have them in front of you, you're just letting negativity, absolutely absorb all your thoughts and your emotions, and you're going through life you're just spinning out of control. In 6 months, you can't make it to any goal if you don't know what those are. Then 6 months turns into a year. A year flies right by. In that year, what did you accomplish? What did you do? Was it worth it? Did you go any closer to your goals? You can't achieve a 5-year goal if every year you're spinning out of control. You can't achieve a small little bitty goal if you don't have it in front of you. Because then a year flies by and you're like, well, what happened? So a vision board or a goal board, or however you want to look at it, is just something to keep you focused, and it's putting positive energy into the universe. I think that is huge for me in my life. The energy you project and you throw out there is the energy that you're going to receive. Some people call it karma. Same thought, same thing. It's very important you're putting the energy out there that you want to get back, whether it be at work or whether it be with your spouse or anything else. You can always point the finger and say, well, my boss, da-da-da-da-da, and that's why. No. You can always say, well, my spouse, da-da-da-da-da. No. You have to align yourself and say, you know what? My kids are driving me crazy, and they're the negative aspect of my life because X, Y, and Z, but you're the one in control. Reel that back into a healthy place by getting organized, by having a happy work-life balance, and doing all these things. It kind of all falls into play. Your children only know what you've taught them and allowed them to do and say, so that falls back on you. So you have to turn around and adjust those things. So that way, things start to fall into place. Like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. A lot of these things are a long-term fix that you work on every day. So if you're the type of person that just wants things to change immediately, there are a few things here and there that you can get your hands on and change immediately and maintain. But for the most part, it is something that you have to work on. These are things that I've worked on for a very long time, and I've realized how important it is to change the little things in my life to gain the bigger things in my life. Having inspirational quotes throughout the house and the office is huge. So important. I have one in my kitchen that I love. It's kind of long and lengthy. Most of the time I'll look at it and I'll read like the first paragraph or the middle one or the last one, and I'll just break it up and I'll look at it and try to get an idea of how I'm going to put that in my day-to-day steps. I'll read it, I'll think about it, and I'll say, okay, today I want to focus on that. And if I can focus on that, that will keep me centered, and that will bring that happiness into my realm. I have them in the bedroom. I have them over there in my living room. And each thing speaks to people differently. So you might read something and your spouse reads something and it doesn't make sense. You have to find things that influence you and motivate you, and then your spouse or your friends or whatever have to find theirs. I always say inspirational sayings are a good gift, but just make sure that it speaks to them, that you're not reading and it's speaking to you and you're giving it as a gift, because if it doesn't speak to them, it does no good. I have the ones over there, my dad, and then my mom is down at the bottom there. I have sayings over there that just kind of solidify and keep me centered with that situation. Put kind of a positive, happy, whole heart spin on it. I have things in the bedroom, so at night whenever I read those before I'm going to bed, it just goes, oh. We have to realize that our mind has thoughts going through it 24/7. We have our mind running and running and running and running. How many of those thoughts are positive? We have to learn how to retrain our brain and our thought process to look at the positive, to see the positive. Whenever you're at work and somebody really tries to get under your skin, or you're in the public, or at the grocery store, or driving down the road, you have to learn how to take something very negative and say, oh, not today. Not today. No. I'm not letting that happen. I feel bad for them. I'm going to stay centered. You just go on your way. You cut me off. That's fine. You came to my checkout line and you're having a horrible day. That's fine. But you're not going to throw me off center. You have to know when enough is enough. We also have to take a time to step back and realize we don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So that person that just came and checked out and didn't speak to you and is just kind of hateful, stop and think for a minute. They could have just lost a loved one. They could have just found out a loved one has an illness. They could have found out they're losing their job or their company's closing. Now granted, there's those people that are just hateful, horrible people every day of their life, and I feel bad for them. So we're just going to say, bless their hearts. And we're going to move on with our day. Because those people you can't. You can't help, you can't save. They have to go down that road on their own and figure their stuff out. But they're not going to affect my happy place, my center point, my joy. They're not. And you have to learn how to stand up and say, no, not today. You're not doing it. If it happens and you do get thrown off and you just go, ugh, it happens. We live in that world. What do you do to fix that? Okay, we are human. Like I've said before, this is not saying that we're on the road to being perfect. That's no fun. We have to have those bumps in the road. We have to learn, I have one saying, you have to learn how to dance in the rain. After everything's said and done, you have to learn there is a reason you went through that. A lot of times in big negative situations, as of losing our job, getting a divorce, breaking up with someone, death, we always ask why. Why me? How did this happen? And at the end of the day, everything has a purpose. Everything comes to you and everybody comes to you for a reason. I've always felt like everybody is put in your path for a reason. You are in charge of finding what reason they're in your path. Now, you might not realize this person or this situation was put in my path for that reason until way down the road. And then something else happened and it triggered it and you go, aha, that is why they were put in my path. That is why I went through that nightmare. So we just have to, as people, take the time to step back and to make ourselves healthy again. You have to make yourself happy and healthy and do the things for yourself first and foremost. If you're not healthy and happy, you can't help anybody else. So if you have kids and a life and a busy schedule and you just say, oh, it's just, I don't have time for me, I just fix everything else. You can't. And if you are that type of person, being healthier, being happier will in turn around and make you even more powerful in that aspect and make you more motivated to help others. So I love decorating. That is one of my passions. I find a lot of happiness in whenever I decorate and make a space something special. It lights something up within me. And if it motivates other people, if it makes other people happy, it is even better. So throughout the remodel of my home here, I have taken the time to take before and after pictures and post throughout the process. And I hope it's motivated people to do their own, to take those challenges. A lot of times we don't do things because of fear. Fear can cripple us in so many different ways, and we have to realize, let's conquer that fear. Look at it head on and face it. If we're afraid to leave a relationship just because it's something different, where's that going to get you? You're going to be in that same spot and be unhappy for how long? And you're making somebody else unhappy. Like I said, if you're not happy, you can't make other people happy. So we have to know when to call it quits, whether it become, a job or a relationship or anything, and figure out how to turn the situation around. If you truly love somebody, you're not going to make them unhappy. If you're truly in love with somebody, you're not going to stay around and make them unhappy. So take those. I've realized, take those steps to step out of your comfort zone. That is one of my biggest lessons. If it's an uncomfortable moment, that is a moment for growth. 110%. When you go through something that is uncomfortable and scary and unsettling sometimes, it's because you're growing. That's an area you don't know. That's a gray area. Sometimes a black area. Completely dark. You don't even know what's going into it. But once you go through it, you learn so much out of it, and you use those things in the future. So challenge yourself to take those steps to do those. Are you afraid to live on your own? So many people are afraid to live on their own. I personally cannot wait to live on my own. But if you're the type of person that's afraid to live on your own, take those steps. Find out why and how to kind of cushion that, and go out there and stretch your limbs and say, I'm going to try this. And I think it will be okay. It's going to be scary. It might be a little difficult. There's going to be some bumps in the road. But we can do this. I can do this, and I can grow as a person. You have to do a lot of soul searching to find out who you are as a person. So many times we can look around and we know our friends so well. We know our family members. We know our spouse so well and to the T. But when it comes to ourselves, we don't know who we really are. We don't know what makes us us until you do some soul searching. So please take that time, soul search, find out what makes you a happy person, and integrate those things within your life. We only have one life to live. Make it the best life. It's very, very important. So throughout all this, I want feedback, I want comments, I want stories of what you've done or what's helped you, or questions. I don't know. I don't know a lot. But questions and conversations can solve a lot. So therapy is one thing that I've always kind of been against. I don't like therapy. I feel like I've got it. I can figure it out. I can walk through it. But sometimes therapy comes in many forms. I have a friend that I sat on the front porch with, and it was some of the best therapy I've ever had. Just sitting on a front porch in a rocking chair and talking. Being 100% open, no judgment zone. That's one of my keys, and that's one of my biggest things in my circle and in my home, is a no judgment zone. You do you. You do what's good for you. You do what makes you happy. It's not for me to judge or other people to judge. Now, I can put my 2 cents in. You can put your 2 cents in. And as long as you're not hurting other people, then go for it. Try it. It might not be something I'm all for or what I enjoy or what I think is right, but no judgment zone. That's your life. That's your journey. You live it. So, sitting on the front porch just having an open discussion with no judgment is huge. Most of the time, I walk through a lot of turmoil and issues in my own mind, quicker and more smooth than I have in years. So one evening, 4 hours sitting on a porch talking can solve, 2-3 years of problems. So find out what that is and keep going back to it and cherish those moments, cherish those people. They have good intentions. So, at the end of the day, on here, we're just going to try to motivate each other. We're going to try to find the positive lining in things and find different ways and different steps to keep that going. So, if it's decorating, if it's landscaping, if it's traveling, whatever your passions, your desires are, whatever makes you happy, if it's volunteering for a charity or for an organization or for a church or your community, and that's what gives you, get going. Involve yourself. Do it. If it's decorating, start your projects. So throughout this, we're going to talk about just different things, different highlights. If there's something that you want me to bring up or talk about as a discussion, by all means, message me and let me know. And we'll just kind of see where this journey goes together. So thank you once again for tuning in, listening, and being a part of this. If I sit on here and talk and it doesn't speak to anybody and nobody speaks back, then it's just me rambling. So hopefully somebody speaks back. Hopefully this motivates and inspires other people to do more and to lead a happier, healthier, more centered, more being life. Because we only have one life to live. So live your best.